Massachusetts is well known for its leading healthcare industry and hundreds of hospitals with top medical staff in the country. However, it is also in the top 20 states of the highest opioid-related death rate at 36.8 out of 100,000. Unfortunately, this number has only increased since 2016, and just last year, in 2022, was the highest recorded year for opioid-related overdose deaths in Massachusetts. With this being said, I want to do something about it and change the rate of these deaths to hopefully see a decline in the near future. In order to ensure this, a special interest group must be created to focus on this issue at hand and bring awareness to both our communities as well as the state government so we can see some real change occur. Now, we must determine where the true problem lies in drug overdoses. Now that we have realized the damage these drugs can do and the addictive tendencies they have on patients, prescribing rates of these drugs have lowered over the years. In 2006, Massachusetts had an opioid dispensing rate of 66 per 100,000. In 2020, that number almost halved at 33.3. So how and why are opioid-related deaths still going up? In 2013, there was a massive rise in synthetic opioids, and by 2018, 90% of opioid-related deaths included these drugs. The biggest contributor to these synthetic drugs is called fentanyl. This drug is used to cut other drugs to produce larger batches at a much lower cost financially. However, it's a much larger cost when it comes to that person's life. Fentanyl is deadly on its own and has been found to be 50 times more potent than heroin and 100 times stronger than morphine. It is difficult to know if a drug has been cut with fentanyl, especially by just looking at it, and this is what leads drug users to ingest an amount that may be normal for them but is now 50% more potent than usual and leads to more accidental overdoses. To attempt to overcome this, the state has established the Massachusetts Prescription Awareness Tool, otherwise known as MassPat. This tool is used when a provider prescribes an opioid to a patient. It is required by law and allows providers to see a patient's opioid prescription history as well as allow there to be documentation of who is prescribing. Each provider must register online for MassPat. This tool provides video tutorials with instructions for prescribers, pharmacists, and delegates. Instructions include how to navigate delegating practitioners, accessing electronic health records, prescriber reports, interstate data sharing, as well as various additional resources. The problem with MassPat is that information can be inputted wrong or inconsistently. Some faculties have patient nicknames in their data set or various addresses, and it can cause confusion and a disarray of information. There is also a 2-week lag time between data input and reflection in the database. This can be detrimental if patients hop around to various hospitals within a short time frame to obtain drugs. The data from MassPat can be found using the Prescription Monitoring Program, which is part of the Massachusetts Drug Control Program, and uses the Population Health Information Tool dataset. The program serves as a data warehouse for federal and state-specific controlled substances, medications dispensed from information collected from pharmacies across the state. Additionally, Massachusetts has a limit of 7 days as a statutory limit for opioid prescriptions. This is one of the higher limits as the majority of the nation has a limit of 3 to 4 days. With this special interest group, we can focus on lowering that prescription limit and, if possible, getting rid of opioid prescriptions as a first option altogether. Additionally, we know between 20 to 30% of people who take prescription opioids abuse them, and roughly 10% of that population goes on to become addicts. While that may not seem like a large number, it is important to note that we do not want the hospitals feeding patients into the street drug system at all. Anyone can fall victim to addiction, and the hospitals are not the main reason for opioid deaths, but when they basically are assisting in one's addiction without offering any help, they have become similar to a dealer. Each prescription of opioids should be absolutely necessary, and if deemed so, should also come with a follow-up routine from the prescriber to ensure safety for the patient. That way, if the patient is abusing them or find themselves coming close to addiction tendencies, they can get help as soon as possible. Education on what to look for is essential as well. One may not even realize they are showing opioid abusive or addictive tendencies until it is too late. If they realize what is happening to them, they will be more inclined to know who can help. While I would be honored to get some members of this special interest group to have political ties, I know that is not always a possibility. With this being said, our group alone does not have a lot of say in how these policies are implemented and maintained. However, bringing our voices together can bring awareness to the issues that cannot be ignored by our communities and our state government. We can use our voices to bring change and funding to programs already trying to support addicts in our mission or bringing Narcan to communities in need. We can also work to help communities educate, starting with the youth. Many adult addicts use drugs for the first time in their teen years. At this age, they do not understand the repercussions of ingesting drugs that they think are pure but are really laced with other substances such as fentanyl. They trust their friends or even their family who are offering it to them. Giving them the information to confidently say no to deadly drugs will help them stand up to peer pressure and may even influence their peers to do the same. While this may be difficult, we may not see immediate results over time. This could save thousands of lives across the state. I'm hoping to make a real difference here for our very own communities, and I hope you will all join me in this force to stop opioids in our great state of Massachusetts. Thank you.